today we are talking about money and all the feelings that come around money and how to do cross-cultural work and actually make a living doing that or building a career. And we're going to dive into a lot of the feelings around that because there's a lot of big ones and like fears and misconceptions, and we're just going to process those. So if you are somebody that is thinking about doing cross-cultural work, but you are kind of scared of maybe not making that much money or don't know how to fundraise, and it just seems like a really big task, this episode's for you, for sure. I want to start out with you guys with a question, maybe like a really short story, as I've tried to do in every other episode.
Love it.
So as you guys know, in episode 1, I talked to you about my thoughts and desires to potentially move to Spain. Still in the process of that, still haven't figured that out. Hopefully by episode 6, we have that figured
We'll nail
out.
it down.
Yeah.
And one thing I've thought about a lot is, do I leave my current role and then go and fundraise to then do that? But that just sounds like a really big task. And it kind of sounds impossible to like raise enough money and ask people to donate monthly for me to be able to make anything like close to what I do right now. How do I get over that feeling? What do I do with that?
Yeah, let's just go a little bit deeper. Good opening, but a little deeper, like what feeling?
The feeling that if I choose to go to Spain, I will not be able to afford it. And people will not want to give me money so I can do that.
Still looking for a feeling.
Yeah. I feel incapable of being able to raise that much money. And I fear not having enough to live on, and I fear like stagnating my like desire to like build some form of wealth in any form long term.
The first thing I want to say is that is so understandable, and so like, I mean, if you didn't feel that way, I would be a little bit concerned about you as a person, perhaps,
Sure.
because you're looking at something that's really big, feels really big, and might feel like you just can't do it, and that's a legitimate like. Anytime you start or anticipate something new that's big, like getting married, starting a new job, I mean, those are natural fears that come up, Michael.
Yeah.
Just want to say that.
I appreciate that,
Yeah.
Mark.
I think anybody who's taking this decision really seriously should be weighing that question along with all the other questions, you know, to evaluate whether or not this is the right next step for them.
Yeah.
So you're in good company when you have those fears.
Thanks.
And I think the next step then is addressing the fears and looking at why am I feeling this way and how do I move past that.
Yeah.
So when you said your fears are, potentially being incapable of doing it, why do you think you would be incapable?
Honestly, the first thing that comes to mind is I've done short-term trips and fundraised for those. My brother has done short-term trips and fundraised for those. And my sister fundraised to go to Bulgaria full-time. And one thing is I feel like my community or network of people that like my family knows or whatever is totally sapped, and they're going to be like a freaking another proctor's asking for my money. I already gave to them so many times. And like I don't know that they would want to do that. I would hope that like, and I think the space I am trying to move into is like I have the faith that God will take care of me and connect me to the people that care and want to enable me to do this and see how like this is something that hopefully like through more prayer like I figure out or not that like this is something God's calling me into and people can like help participate in that. But I think that's one way, which is like less about like me being incapable and more me feeling like my network of people just like wouldn't want to do that for me, because that's a huge ask.
It is.
And like relying on your community for your entire income is nuts.
I'm wondering, so Michael, you moved from Lincoln to Elgin 3 years ago? And so you have a newer and growing community here. Does that affect your situation regarding network size?
For sure. And I think I've definitely built a unique community here, outside of the community that like just my family knows, for sure. So I think I definitely can rely on them in like really effective ways.
So even your perception of your network might not be reality.
I think maybe, that's true. Honestly, yeah.
Do you think that really your idea of your network being tapped out and like the fact that they've already given to other family members is rooted in like assumptions that you're making about those people?
For sure. Yeah. Like I assume people don't want to give anymore, and they're like, bro, I'm already so generous in all these spaces, and which is like maybe like sad that I would think about my friends in my community that way, in a way that like they wouldn't step up and want to be generous. Which I'm just now realizing that. Thanks, guys.
I mean, my sense is that people love the Proctors.
Yeah.
You guys are somewhat known in Lincoln and your network there. People like you guys. And I mean, I can't speak for them, but I also wouldn't want you to make the decision for them about whether or not they will give to you. That's their decision.
For sure.
And that decision only becomes a possibility when you put the opportunity in front of them.
Yeah, that makes sense.
It seems like this wouldn't be the case, but statistically, the people who are most likely to give are people that have given before.
Wow, there you go.
Oh, interesting. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Whether that's to a short-term project, whether they've made a one-time donation, or whether they've given monthly already to a family member, they are actually the ones most likely to give because they are the most invested in your lives, in what God's doing in your lives, maybe in the ministry itself. Maybe they have a passion or a heart for the type of ministry that like Abby's involved in.
Yeah.
And they're the ones who are already bent towards generosity, towards the vision and mission of One Collective and your family.
Yeah.
So you might assume that they'd be less likely to give, but realistically, they're the most likely.
No way. I did not think about that at all. That's so shocking.
I would add, too, that I wonder if that's because you have relationships with these people who have given to you before. And so the relationship is there. And so you don't necessarily need a lot of new donors. You already have this network of people that you're in relationship with, and there's strength in that.
Yeah.
And something to tap into.
Yeah, that totally makes sense. Would you guys say this is true for most people going into cross-cultural work, where they have a network, but maybe they're not confident in their network?
Yes.
Okay.
I would say for many people that's the case. There are some people who do not have a robust network, and they have to work harder to develop it.
Okay.
And they develop that through simply initiating relationships with people, referrals from their current networks. We see that happen a lot, but generally the answer to that, I would say, is yes.
Okay. Interesting.
Part of the strategy that we train for those who are coming into our organization and who are going to be raising funds and going out to work somewhere in the world in a community of ours, is to expand your network through referrals.
Yeah.
And it feels really unnatural and awkward at first, but it's actually a way that you are like leaning into the body of Christ and inviting more and more people into partnership with you. And you can develop some really deep and meaningful long-term relationships through the referral of others that you had no prior contact with and now are partners with you in ministry in a way that you never knew was possible. So we train people exactly how to do that and why it's so important. And without the use of referrals, I think that most of our people wouldn't be funded.
Wow. I see. That's so surprising to me because I would have thought like, okay, I meet with like somebody, a family from church, like Ryan, let's say that. I meet with Ryan, I chat with him, we have a relationship, you know, like we've roasted beans together or whatever. And I'm like, yo, like I'm thinking about this thing. Would you, like, I want to do this thing. Would you consider supporting me financially? And then he'd be like, oh yeah, 100%. And then I asked something along the lines of like, do you know anyone else that would care about mission work and would be willing to financially support me? My thought is that they wouldn't want to because they don't know me yet, hardly at all. But like you're saying, that's where a lot of like funding actually comes from, is through referrals. What makes people that are referred like care and want to give to somebody they barely know, I guess?
God. He's working in their
There you
hearts
go. That's
already.
the answer, Michael, to all your questions. It's God.
Great. Okay.
It's true though. He's already at work in the hearts of people in ways that we have no idea.
Yeah.
He's already opening doors for people who have generous hearts and who've been blessed and want to steward their own gifts and resources. And he's bringing these people to you, and you're being faithful to do the asking on your part. So the only way fundraising works successfully is if God is faithful in providing and if we are faithful in asking. And part of asking is making those awkward, uncomfortable asks of people that we don't yet know intimately, but that God is preparing for this type of work. And they know Ryan, and they care about Ryan and his opinions and the generous things that, you know, he prioritizes. And so if Ryan makes the pitch that Michael is fundraising for this opportunity in Spain and that this is something that they should care about, they're going to be more open to listening.
Wow. Okay. That totally makes sense. That like, again, still blows me away. And I feel like I'm sitting here, I'm like, man, Michael, you need to have faith in God to show up more often. But I think it's easy to like kind of be mired in the like practicalness of the world and think. And I guess like maybe I am even a little like cynical thinking about this. And you guys are breaking that right now, like literally. And I'm like, this is actually so good for me. So thanks for that.
Michael, would you consider yourself an entrepreneur?
I would say so. Yeah.
Okay. Do you think that a lot of your friends in your like age demographic are also entrepreneurs to some extent?
At least have the desire to be.
Okay.
Yeah.
The skills needed to be a successful entrepreneur are literally the same skills needed to be a successful fundraiser.
Interesting.
If you're going to make a business idea take off, you need buy-in. You need investors. You need to be able to sell a vision. You need to be able to create interest among people that, you know, might be potential investors in your business, right? And fundraising is really the same thing.
Interesting.
You're developing that skill, so it can serve you in so many ways beyond just this involvement in ministry, which is obviously like going to serve you very well here.
Yeah.
But if you were to move on from one collective, if you were to start your own company, if you were to do another type of ministry even in the future, no matter where life takes you, what doors God opens, these skills to develop, like communication skills, to expand your network, to be able to share a vision, to be able to ask for involvement of others, invite them in. These things really carry over. So doing it now will serve you forever.
Okay. Wow, that's so interesting.
And Michael, one of the things that you will experience if or as you move forward in this process is a lot of surprises. God will show up in ways that you are not expecting. And like you're already in this conversation showing elements of surprise at the things that you're learning, your cynicism being chipped away a little bit. Wow, I'm kind of, this happens over and over again, not every single day, but a lot on the fundraising pathway.
That totally makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And some of those will be referrals, people you've never heard of before who you will come to know in a new relationship.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's so cool. And like knowing those people in such, like, I would almost say like it's kind of weird to say, an intimate way. Like, because like they are.
That's Carly's word.
We don't have to use that word. Richard, cut.
I know, I love it. Well, just because like finances are intimate, especially for Americans.
Actually,
in a way.
that's true.
Yeah, that's really true.
Like it
very,
is
very
a
personal.
thing you don't really share with people.
Yeah.
You don't say how much you make or how much you spend on things,
Yeah.
and you like keep it to yourself.
Yeah.
And so I think when somebody's willing to share that, and you make that intimate ask, hey, can you give up your finances, this thing you keep very private, and give some to me, is really like cool, and I think hopefully could build really good relationships.
Yeah, it's building Christian community in a way that like really only this can do, to forge deeper relationships with people and really work together to accomplish a vision.
Yeah. I'm curious, have you guys seen, this is another one of my fears, is once I integrate a financial aspect into my relationship with different people, that could strain the relationship long term, or like change it or make it a little more risky, I guess, long term, potentially. Where have you guys seen that like succeed and go well, but maybe have problems?
I think that's a really good question, and I don't know that I've had that take on a question coming into this topic.
Yeah.
But it's a good one, and I'm still reflecting on it. So I'm looking at Carly for the initial response here.
Yeah, because the idea is like, oh, like I asked Ryan to give me money. He does for a year, and then he stops. And ideally, I'm mature enough, and I'm like totally okay. Like he has stuff going on in his life, but also could be like, yo, what up, man? Like I thought we had a great relationship. Why are you not financially supporting me anymore? Or something like that. Like I don't really know, like what that could look like.
Well, I think if you're defining the relationship with Ryan as primarily a financial one, then you will feel jilted if he stops giving.
Yeah.
But
It's transactional.
it's
way.
transaction.
Yeah.
But if the relationship is legit, there's some care, there's trust, there's positive relational vibes in it, then the financial piece shouldn't affect that. You might feel that, of course.
Sure.
But the core of the relationship can endure.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Well, and if the money is the Lord's to begin with, and you're asking that person to give to this particular ministry, right? To your ministry with One Collective, they're giving it back to the Lord. And you know what? If that door closes for some reason or another, that's between them and the Lord, right? And maybe they're directing it to another great ministry or another great opportunity. But that won't affect your relationship with that person and your relationship with the Lord, because you know that he will provide in other ways.
100%. Yeah.
And so I think like seeing the money as God's, that he is going to direct as he pleases, and that those people are being obedient to God and how he's asked them to use their money, his money. That then I think that provides like, you know, just kind of more security in both your relationship with God and with that person. It's not dependent on their financial gifts. And you know, their obedience to him plays out in a way that you may not have visibility to. And so there may be some things you never know. But you're trusting that they're living in obedience to God, and you're doing what you can to be faithful and live in obedience to God.
That totally makes sense. You guys have both fundraised. How did your relationships with people around you that supported you change as you fundraised, and then like came home and then like no longer needed like to be supported and stuff like that? Like, did you have any bad experiences with that? And like, I'm also curious then about the good experiences with that.
I don't think I had any bad experiences. There were some people that maybe I expected to give that didn't. And like I said, I don't know their circumstances. I don't know where else they're directing their funds. And I just had to trust that really made no difference to me. It really wasn't about me and them and our relationship dynamic. It was more about their own relationship to the Lord and how he was asking them
Okay.
to use their money.
Yeah.
So I don't think it negatively impacted my relationships, except to just be surprised at sometimes when I expected somebody to give more or in a different way, and that didn't happen. And then I had to make that decision not to let it affect our relationship. But it did deepen relationships that I had with people.
Because I'm sure that happened in the opposite, where you expected people not to give that much, and they gave like abundantly.
Yeah, and regardless of how much they gave, it was the fact that they chose to partner with me in this that really, I think, strengthened our relationship. And then I was also making the conscious decision of staying in more regular communication with them as I wanted to share the ministry with them. And so we talked more often than we would have otherwise. So it's just more intentional.
That's cool.
I've had a few calls, what was the look for? Okay. I've had a few calls with supporters recently, and
like your people that did support you,
people that did and are, and hopefully
Mark
will
is
be
still
supporting.
fundraising.
I'm doing some fundraising.
Oh, no way.
Yeah,
I didn't know that.
Yeah?
In fact, Michael, if we could no, no, seriously, and on like 3 or 4 of these recent calls in the last few months, the conversations where the conversations went was we grew deeper in our understanding of each other's actual daily lives, the real things going on in our lives. And with 1 or 2 of them, it almost became a matter of the funding. It almost didn't matter because the relationship was really growing and it was vibrant. And both of these couples ended up giving to me, which was amazing. But it's like if the relationship...
It's a ministry.
Sorry?
It's a ministry.
It's a ministry.
Yeah.
What do you mean by that? Like it's a ministry?
Like, why did you say that?
Because you're having the opportunity to minister to these people that God has brought at this time in your life. And the funding is just like a small piece of that. But it's the relationship that you have and the fact that you're able to both share deeply about challenges that you're facing, sin struggles that you're having, really like celebrate together. It's a relational ministry that you have the opportunity to enter into. And people don't always see it that way because they see it as a means to an end when they can actually go do ministry. But really, this is the same work.
It is. And so I feel like I've got a handful of, some of them are new friends, some of them are old friends that were kind of stagnant and the friendships were stagnant, and now they've kind of come alive simply because we talked about money and fundraising.
That's so cool. I love that. Dang. I'm like slowly moving towards like excited about maybe like
There you go.
No. Okay. I have another fear. And I think this one might land in more of like a theological space.
Okay.
And I think I've kind of asked you guys about this before, but I am somebody, I got like a business degree and everything. I do think of myself as entrepreneur. And I come from a family that didn't have a whole lot of money. And I love the idea that I can do work and work hard and have good income and have the security of like some form of wealth. Not saying like I become a millionaire or whatever, but like enough to be comfortable. And my fear is that if I go to being fundraised and move to Spain, I'd be like hindering that. And like, how do you like, is it okay to want to build wealth as a cross-cultural worker?
Is it okay to want to build wealth as a cross-cultural worker?
Yeah.
Why would it not be?
I guess like part of my thing is because the work is meaningful enough and God always provides. And so I shouldn't want wealth. I should want to serve and love people and experience the Father through those experiences, which are wonderful. I think what I hear in like a lot of nonprofits is like, well, yeah, we don't have that much money, but you do get this meaning, which is true. You do get significant meaning, and that is wonderful. But I still also would love to have this like security and like comfortability and not having to stress about this thing, like my parents did, kind of thing growing up. But it, in a way, it feels wrong to want that as a Christian.
Interesting.
Yeah.
What would you say for you, if you dig a little deeper, is the purpose for wanting to build wealth? You said like to be comfortable, to have security.
Yeah.
Why do you want those things? And is there other things that you want to?
Yeah. I think two things immediately that are at the top of that. One, I want to not have to have a worry about money. And two, I want to be able to be somebody that can be extremely generous to other people. And I have some mentors who will always like tell me like, what you do when you have little is what you will do when you have much. So I think now I am trying to live a life of like being generous, but it like, I don't make that much right now. And it is sometimes kind of painful and you have to make that sacrifice. But that also is like out of faithfulness, like God will provide and I get to experience him through generosity, which is actually like one of my favorite things. And it's like a weird thing. But I would love to be able to give more. And like, I see people, we have like, 11 people in training right now. And I would love to be able to support every single one of them because they're such good people and they're going to do such amazing work. That is not realistic at all. But it's just like interesting. And so I think, I don't know if I'm answering your question.
No, I think you are. I think, you know, when you have limited resources, like you're saying you do now, support might not always look financial. And the ways that you're practicing generosity may not be through the giving of finances. So you could support these 11 workers in different ways other than just making a monthly donation to them.
Yeah.
You have some really amazing gifts that they could benefit from.
Sure.
You have some knowledge and wisdom that they could benefit from. Those are ways that you could be supporting them outside of like the financial model. But getting back to like building wealth and the purpose of that, it sounds like it's a matter of stewardship for you, and that you want to have enough that you can give away and that you can steward for God's purposes in your life and the lives of others. So I would say that then isn't inherently wrong.
Okay.
Right?
Sure. Yeah.
Do you think that maybe it's wrong to have a focus on or want to add wealth?
I think there's a part of me, and I think it comes from like how I grew up as a Christian, which is like kind of some of the scriptures, like money is the root of all evil. It's like we shouldn't want that.
The love of money is the root of all evil.
Yeah.
Yeah, important distinction.
Yeah.
That is. I think maybe the other voice in my head is kind of like maybe just coming from like my family or community is like anytime money's talked about, it's always in a stressful manner. And so in a way, like engaging with other people, why I say it's like kind of intimate is because it is like a high tension space to talk about some of those things. And I hope a lot of people going into cross-culture work like has healthy relationships with money.
Yeah.
And I'm sure a lot of people do. I would imagine there's some people that are kind of similar to me though.
Oh, of course.
Oh, yeah.
I'm curious, where have you guys seen that with people?
And if you're worried about how to make ends meet, that occupies a lot of your energy and your brain.
Yeah.
And so then you don't have the freedom to give all of your energy and capacity to something like ministry because it's occupying so much of your time.
Yeah.
So actually that's an attitude towards money that we want to see people grow and develop in, and that we try to plan ahead for with like how we craft our budgets.
Yeah, I was gonna ask, how does one collective do that?
Yeah.
Like, what does that kind of practically look like?
Yeah. So we're thinking about budgets in a way that actually promotes like health financially and long-term sustainability on the field. So when we're creating a budget for somebody that's not just outlining like their daily costs, but they're actually planning ahead financially. They're planning for retirement. They're planning for savings. They're actually planning for vacations because it's really important to rest so you don't reach a level of burnout in the type of ministry that we're doing.
That's so awesome.
Yeah, they're paying off student loans that, you know, is just a reality that so many people come to us having taken out loans to finish school. And it's important to be fiscally responsible and to pay those back. So that's something we want to account for. We want to provide for healthcare needs. We want to provide for children's education. So those are all things that we factor in that people are raising funds for so that their energy can be focused on where God would have them make the most impact.
Wow. Yeah. Does that mean each person that joins One Collective, in a way, has a different budget based off of their needs?
Yes.
Okay.
Based upon their needs.
So it's...
Go ahead.
So it's not like you're going to this community or like country and this is like the average budget there, so that's what you get.
Everyone raises the same amount of money for their savings. For
I think that's my expectation.
Oh, no. Those line items, savings, retirement, vacation, and a few others are very flexible, and the worker gets to speak into those, those line items. And so there is a significant amount of room for people, to use the phrase, to add wealth in appropriate ways that can, I don't know like the numbers or how big we go on that, but I think there's just room for people to take this concern about their financial future and impact what the budget will look like for them.
Okay, that's so cool. I love that. I didn't know that even. So one thing, right now, as I mentioned, we have 11 people in training. I would love to bring one of those people in on this conversation and we like chat with her personally. She's like in this process right now.
Yes.
So let's take a quick break and go grab her. If you're this deep into watching this podcast episode, then I'm assuming you are looking to do some type of mission work. And so I just wanted to invite you to do that. You should go to onecollective.org/begin. There's a type form down at the bottom and you should fill it out. And in that type form, you'll be able to schedule time with Mark or Carly, and they would love to jump on a call and chat with you about where you could go. Because we literally have 52 teams around the world and hundreds of open positions for people just like you. Now back to the conversation where you were going to hear from Amanda.
It's my privilege to welcome our guest in this fundraising episode, Amanda Epperson. Amanda is an outgoing worker, and she is in the middle of her fundraising process. I've had the privilege of working with her as her mobilizer, helping her in this process. So welcome, Amanda.
Thanks, guys.
Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, I'm Amanda, like you guys have said. I've been a teacher the last 8 years, and so just pivoting in my life to now go help educators and vulnerable women.
No way. That's great. Thanks for letting me also pull you out of your class of training, literally teaching about discipleship. We're like, nah, the podcast is more important.
Not a problem.
Come to the storage room.
Yeah, right.
More fun.
Yeah. So, well, to give you like a little context, thanks, Mark. We've been talking about a lot of the big feelings around fundraising, kind of like before we start. Like, as you know, I kind of chatted with you a bit. Like, I've been thinking about moving to Spain, and we've been just chatting about like the barrier fundraising feels like it is. And Mark and Carly have been great about helping me land into a healthier space, a more faithful space, a more excited space. But I think I would love to at least hear about like how your process has been with fundraising, and how it's impacted you, what's been hard, and where you at now with it. So maybe to start, before you started fundraising, what was your biggest fear about fundraising? And then how'd you overcome that?
I really just didn't want to.
Okay.
I think fundraising was hard. Like, that was my thought.
Same.
I have to call a bunch of people and go knock on some doors and the typical ideas you think about fundraising. which is interesting because I actually was a really good fundraiser in school.
Okay.
So like
Oh.
when we had to like sell 36 cheesecakes to go to Kings Island, you better believe I was at like 45 cheesecakes sold because I wanted a free trip to
That's
Kings
great.
Island.
Yeah.
So I was thinking back to that. I'm like, oh, I don't want to knock on doors and call a bunch of people. But I think something that the Lord did is like every job I've had, He's always used it to prepare me. And I used to be a Cutco sales rep.
Okay.
And Cutco is selling knives. If you don't know, they are the best knives. I
Okay.
don't care what anyone
She
says.
stands by
I
that.
There you go.
stand by it. I'm taking them with me.
Nice.
Don't put it in your carry-on.
No, they're packed in my checked bag in the block.
Already?
Wow. Already.
Wow.
They're coming with me. And the training I had, who like my trainer / boss, his name is Brett Wiggins. He's amazing. And he always taught us in training, like, he's like, I don't care who you ask, just go ask. He's like, I don't care if it's your boss, if it's your ex-boss, if it's your ex-boyfriend's mom, go do it. I did that.
Whoa.
And she bought knives from me.
No way.
So like, yeah. So that training, I looked back on it in orientation when we were talking about fundraising, and I was like, okay, Lord, now I see why you had me go out and sell some knives.
Sure.
Because it's the
Interesting.
same model.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Carly was saying that, like, she asked me, she's like, Michael, do you see yourself as an entrepreneur? I was like, I think so. She's like, honestly, same skills apply and are needed.
Yeah.
And, like, same with sales kind of thing. Okay, so how did you end up after, like, thinking fundraising's hard? Now that you've done, at least I think the majority of your funding, how do you feel about fundraising now?
It's a great question. I feel like it was easier than what I had thought
Okay.
because I'm a relational person.
Yeah.
And when you have relationships with people, it's easier to talk to people. Therefore, it's easier to have questions. Was the ask still hard? Yes.
Okay.
The ask is always hard. I
Okay.
actually would pray before some meetings, and I'd be like, Lord, please don't let me ask them. Can you just let them say, I'm going to support you?
Okay.
And then have no ask. And every time I prayed that, that's what happened.
Well,
Wow.
Which was
No
great.
way.
Yeah.
Yes, which praise the
That's awesome.
Lord. Yeah. The past like month has been different though. He's like, okay, it's time. You gotta.
learn
I have
the
this
skill.
specific ask. Yeah,
Okay.
just to get over that. But I think getting 70% done in this fundraising.
Yeah.
I think that it's become easier because it's just people.
Beautiful.
And I had some great advice. Actually, it reminds me of you almost, Mark, because you always have these like words of wisdom, pastoral wisdom
He
that you
does.
give, right? And I had a missionary tell me, walk into every meeting like you're already fully funded, and walk into every meeting to minister to them, and they're going to minister to you.
Wow. Okay. Have you seen that happen?
Yes.
Hmm.
Like in almost all my meetings.
Amazing.
We're like there for 4 hours crying at some point.
Wow.
Yeah, it's been really big.
What does that look like?
Yeah, I was
The
like
ministering.
practically like, all right, I'm setting up a call with one of these guys. His name's Ryan at my church. Like, say I set up a call with him. How do I walk in there feeling like I'm fully funded and ready to minister to him?
I think it's a mindset shift, right? Do you
Okay.
trust that the Lord's going to provide for you,
Yeah.
right? Even if it's not in dollars, it might be in prayer. So going in and caring about the person, right? The ask really kind of goes out the window because yes, you're there for partnership. And I think that's one of the things he said to be explicit in partnership. Like tell them, I would love to have a partnership meeting with you to talk about being prayerfully and financially partners. They already know going into it. So when they're like, yes,
Fantastic.
it takes that nervousness out.
Yeah.
And then you can just be people caring about each other.
Yeah. That's so awesome.
Amanda, you have gone through One Collective's orientation back in January.
Yes.
And a main component of that training is on fundraising. Did that help you? How did it help you? And you've been paired with a coach, I think, for the last several months. How has that and any other resources One Collective has provided, was that helpful for you?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I think it was a good jog of memory because It was very much similar to Cutco training.
Oh, yeah.
And,
Oh, really?
and that sense of it, yeah. But I think it helped prepare me to look at the why, right?
Mm.
I'm not selling something to you now. I'm asking you to partner with me because I owe you just as much as you're giving to me, right? And it's a true partnership. And having my coach, Chesney, she is awesome.
Yeah.
She keeps you accountable, which is great, which is something I need. Someone to like, I'm pretty self-sustainable and I'm going to get it done.
Yeah.
But like some weeks she's like, so let's go through your action steps. And I'm like, oh, I said, I'll be very upfront. I didn't do any of them.
Yeah.
Can you put them on next week's?
Yeah.
Eventually I'll get them done. Right. But it was really great to have someone who's keeping you accountable, who's like a weekly check-in. And it eventually got from like, we're here to talk about, did you do this, to just ministering to each other and being friends instead of a coach and a coachee. Yeah.
Okay. Wow.
What do your meetings usually look like?
Lots of laughter,
Oh,
sometimes
good.
lots of crying.
No way.
Okay.
Wow.
Both can exist.
Both, because
Yeah.
I'm a laugh crier. Is that right? So when I laugh, I cry anyway, so it's great. So, but it looks like, we start off like, she always asks, like, how are you doing? Right? Which some days were really deep because our meetings were on Tuesdays, and I think mental health is important, so I have therapy on Tuesdays also. And she's like, you had therapy today, didn't you? I was like, yeah, how do you know? But we would start off checking in and then going through our list and then talking about, okay, what do we need to do going forward? Should always end with, how can I pray for you? Which I thought was just so meaningful. And then on our last coaching session, I kind of flipped the script and was like, Chesney, how can I pray for you? Because it's like, now we're in it together.
Yeah.
Right. And that's really sweet.
Do you consider her a partner in ministry?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Have you made a direct ask to her?
Twice.
Twice?
No way.
Okay.
That's so funny.
Early on. And
Okay.
then at the very last session, I was like, well. So
Have
yeah,
you
twice.
decided yet, Chesney? Yeah.
Yeah. She's been really awesome.
Awesome. That's great.
That's so cool. I knew like you guys at One Collective, we did training for fundraising, but honestly, I've not heard anything about it at all, and so that's so good to hear. Like, that's been really helpful for you.
Yeah. Ask anyone. Right. I asked a lot of the people in the office. Actually, one of the first people I asked when I left was Scott and John and Carly. And,
Amazing.
And my mentors, Ben and Kristen, were like, I'm not going to stand in the way of your boldness. Ask
Oh,
them.
wow.
I was like,
love
okay, I
that.
will.
That's so funny.
I love that. What would you say to someone? You've kind of been saying it already, but what would you say to someone who is thinking about serving in cross-cultural work, but they're scared as anything about raising funds? What would you say to them regarding the path with One Collective?
That's kind of me right now. I kind of don't want to fundraise, but I kind of want to. I'm thinking about cross-cultural work.
Talk to Michael.
This is what I would say is, if it's God's will, it's God's bill, right? It's kind of cliche, but when the Lord moves you into a space, or even if you choose to be in that space, He knows your heart and He knows the desires of your heart, and He'll make a way for it, right? And even in like being scared, that really should be the last thing we're scared about, is fundraising, because we're going to do the Lord's work, right? The harvest is plenty and the laborers are few. So someone who's saying, yeah, Lord, I'm going to pick up my cross, I'm going to die to my flesh, and I'm going to do what you want me to do, man, He's going to make a way for that. Because we're like drops in a bucket. There's only few drops, but one drop makes all the ripple effects. And so you're going to end up touching more people, which is kind of what it's all about.
Yeah.
That's so interesting that you say like fundraising should be the last thing we're worried about. To be honest, it is one of the biggest things I'm worried about. Like probably fundraising and leaving my community. Those are like the two things. And yeah, as Mark and Carly have been working on me and moving me to just like be faithful and to be excited about that as like one of the things. I'm curious because Mark and Carly have hinted towards this. Like, how have you been like spiritually formed because you fundraised and like had to meet with so many people and ask for their help?
Yeah, how has God been at work in your life during this season?
That's a great question. I struggle with trusting God fully, right? All my trust. And I think that's been like the biggest thing, is going into meetings and trusting that he's gonna do it. And there's been some meetings where I've met with people that I thought they're gonna do it,
Mm-hmm.
and they didn't.
Yeah,
Right, and then
Carly
I'm-
was saying that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She was fundraising.
And then I met with people that I felt there was kind of a break in our relationship from past things, and I reached out to them anyways, and they met with me, and they were some of my biggest supporters.
Amazing.
Like
I love
in
that.
abundance.
Yeah.
And you had that chance to repair what was broken
Mm.
with them because you took the initiative to reach
I
out.
love that.
Yeah.
Redemption.
That was one of the more beautiful things.
Yeah.
Like, great, they're giving me money, that's awesome. But what was more special was now I have another person in my corner who's supporting me,
Mhm.
that I got to fix that relationship
Yeah.
with.
Yeah. Mm.
That's so awesome. How hard was it to like reach out to some of those people? And like, how did you have the guts to be like, yeah, I haven't talked to this person in 6 years, but like, I'm gonna text them or send them an email or whatever? Because like, that also is another thing that's kind of daunting.
It is daunting.
Mm.
And like reaching out and being like, hey, we haven't chatted for a while, but I need money. Like, that's what it feels like.
It can feel like
I
that.
think it feels that way in the mind of the one who's raising funds.
Yeah.
It doesn't necessarily, and some of that's just imaginary. It doesn't
Okay.
need necessarily feel that way in the mind of the person that is
Okay.
being reached out to.
Sure.
So my Cutco boss, I haven't talked to him
Oh, yeah,
since
yeah.
2013.
Oh.
And he was someone I reached out to. And he's like, I'm so proud of you for reaching out and asking me. And he gave such a generous gift.
Well.
But what was cooler about that, and that was like 10 minutes. I only had 10 minutes to talk to him. He was in the line to pick up his girls from school.
No
He's
way.
like, I got 10 minutes for you. And I was like, okay, great. I can do it in 10 minutes. But what I got to hear in that story was I got to hear how he wasn't a believer when I was working for him, and how he came to Christ after I stopped working for
No
him.
way.
Wow.
Yeah.
Amazing.
It was
Nice.
it was amazing to hear that. So that was pretty cool.
And if I'm not mistaken, you were kind of afraid of reaching back out to him, weren't you? Maybe not afraid,
I
but
was.
there was something there that was a blockage for you.
Yeah, we talked about that
Yeah.
because I felt like I left Cutco. I mean, you get a lot of these young kids in, you go sell knives, you have fun,
Sure.
do other things, and it almost was like, no, you shouldn't leave, right? But I was at a split where I was now in college and I needed to focus on education major instead of doing all of this all the time, because you're running essentially your own business.
Right.
Mhm.
That's
Yeah.
really hard.
Mm.
And I'll be honest, I hated sales.
Okay.
I hate to this day, which is why.
I did not know that.
Oh,
I
I
thought
hate
you
it.
loved it.
Oh no.
You strike me as somebody that would be really good at it for some reason.
Oh,
She
I'm
is
good at
good.
it.
Okay.
But I do not enjoy it.
Okay. Wow.
And I think the flip of
Oh,
fundraising versus
okay.
selling, right, is fundraising, it's for God.
Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh.
And you're bringing people into what God's already doing. And selling is, I'm going to make you believe that you need this product.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's the difference.
Yes.
Mhm.
Yes. That makes sense.
Yeah, but yeah, I did not want to ask him. It was like a whole month of like talking to Chesney, talking to Mark, and I was like, okay, finally, I'm just gonna send him a text message. I didn't call anyone. Carly's like, you gotta call people. I called nobody. I talked
Okay.
to no one. I texted everyone,
Hmm.
or met them in person. Was like, hey, I want to meet with you. Because that
That's
happened
awesome.
a couple times.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm in a partnership meeting with someone at a restaurant. I see another person come in. I'm like, oh, God, you're so cool. Nice. I'm going to talk to them for a hot second. I'm going to set up something with them and
I'll
then
be
go
right
back
back.
to here. Yeah.
No way.
It,
Wow.
it worked out pretty well. So,
That's fun.
But you did have meetings with people. It was just setting it up. You,
oh, yeah,
you
setting it up.
texted.
Oh, yeah.
So you just text a bunch of people like, hey, doing this thing. Would love to chat with you about this thing.
yeah, because
Yeah.
I'm very forward about it. Like, I want to partner with you
Hmm.
financially and prayerfully. And if they don't answer, that's the answer.
Hmm.
Sure. Yeah.
right? So it makes
And
it a lot easier.
the expectations are set of what you will be asking for in the meeting when you send that text initially and set it up like, we're going to talk about partnership. That's what you're coming to this meeting about.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And that was the same advice from that first missionary I talked to
Yeah.
about going into every meeting already funded. That was something he's like, be so like upfront that their that their non-answer is a no.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Done.
And when is your target deployment date? That's 6 weeks or so. How's that looking for you?
Fundraising wise, or like all the other things wise.
I mean, mainly fundraising.
Well, I have like 34.1% left to go. Like,
Okay.
I'm not counting at all, but
Yeah. No, not at all.
not at all. But I feel like the Lord has highlighted people to me, and in the past, He's always like, okay, you need to go.
Mhm.
We got to do these. We got to talk to these, blah, 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 right? But this, like last month, has been a very much of wait and watch, which is kind of what it was in May. So, May, I had knee surgery. I started a perspectives course. I had the race. I had lots of things to do.
Yeah.
So, I didn't really fundraise in May. I walked in at 17,000 and walked out at 33,000.
Wow.
The Lord doubled
Yeah.
in a month.
So faithfulness can look like different things at different times.
Yeah. Yeah.
Depending on what God's asking of you in that season.
Absolutely. Yeah, because right now I feel like I'm not supposed to be going out and talking to 100 people.
Okay.
I'm supposed to be waiting for things to grow. And I keep praying, Lord, put urgency on people's hearts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Told Michael he should record a little 30-second snippet saying Amanda's waiting for you to sign up.
Hey, support Amanda. If you said you're going to, then actually do it.
Let's make it happen.
Get on
And
it.
send her to do the Lord's work.
Yeah.
because-
Look, this
right.
is a way that you can support her that's not even financial.
Yeah.
See?
Everyone give your money to Amanda.
Oh, connections. That's a huge
Connection.
thing.
Oh, yeah.
I have 3 people in my network that are not financial partners of mine yet,
Yeah.
right? But have connected me to so many people.
Amazing.
Yeah. That's what they were saying,
Yep.
like referrals. And I was like, no way this is going to work. Like, they don't know you at
No, they
all.
don't. I walked into the Stone Table. It's a global ministry, non-for-profit. They work in BAM situations, right? And I shared my story with him, and my referral's sitting there, and he's sitting there, and he said, just for you saying yes, I'm giving you $2,500 today. It will be in your account.
My
Wow.
goodness.
That's
I
insane.
was like, that was my face.
Amazing.
And he didn't know you.
I had no idea who I was, and we set the expectation that we're not there to ask him for money. We're just there to share and get his advice because he worked a lot in Africa.
Oh.
Yeah. So
Wow.
I was
So
like,
God surprises you.
oh yeah, in abundance.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And that's like double. Like, you're going to Africa, Zambia to do work, and you're like, hey, can I chat with you about like how can I do work effectively here because you have experience in this.
Yeah.
Plus, he also is financially supporting you.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
Amazing.
Okay.
It was amazing.
Well, Amanda, thank you for being our guest today. This has been delightful. And any other questions or input for Amanda before we wrap up this section?
I'm just so glad that you have been bold in fundraising and that you've seen God work in your life and bring others into your life in all new ways. I mean, it's the best kind of preparation for the field work that you'll be doing, but it also is a ministry unto itself, and you've seen that. You've been a part of it.
Yeah.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah. Thanks for being the living proof of what Mark and Carly have been telling me.
It
The
worked.
credibility.
That's right.
Yeah, it
That's
totally,
right. It works.
totally does. Yeah.
That's testimony to
That's
that.
so good.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Thanks,
For sure.
Amanda.
Yay.
Having Amanda on was really fun. Thanks for that experience, guys. I feel like it was really helpful hearing her talk about her experience while working with you guys. And you guys are like
Yeah.
saying all these things, and then she's like, here's the truth of like how they work and that like they are real and it is true. And I've been able to do this thing. And I'm like,
Yeah.
wow, great. So
And
I just like loved hearing her story.
It's like she's a year further down the road than
Exactly.
you are if
Yeah.
you were to go
and
down
it's
this
so
path.
helpful to see like
Yeah.
a glimpse of what that could look like.
Good.
And I think she just finished her last coaching session.
Oh,
So
really?
she's been
Yes.
working with a coach since February. And, now she just has the final home stretch of fundraising to do. And she's living this right now as we speak.
Yeah. So in this episode, we've talked a lot about my feelings, which thanks for creating that space for me, guys. But I also want to create space for you guys to share a little bit about like what are the practical resources that One Collective has that you guys work with people to set them up for success. So I don't know if you guys just want to like share a little bit, like what does that look like? What is that process? Like really practical.
So at One Collective, when people are accepted after their application process, and the first thing they do is they come to orientation.
Okay.
Orientation is a 5-day on-site training experience here at our home office. And the core, a primary feature of orientation is training in fundraising. And so we have a whole training package that
Okay.
covers most of those days. And people are trained to know how do you do this. So
Yeah.
it's like you go from the fear, you take steps forward, and now you're here. And it really does kind of hit people
Yeah.
when they come to orientation that, oh my goodness, okay, this is actually happening.
Yeah.
And then we dive into it.
Yeah.
Part
And-
of that is during orientation, we finalize that budget that we've been talking about. It's like an idea that everybody's working with, but there's no concrete numbers until that point in their process.
Oh, okay.
And then during orientation, we're nailing down like, how are you planning for your future and what are your expenses on the field and what kind of, line items do we need to consider for you to be healthy on the field. And then during the 5 days of training, they're doing role play. They're putting practical things into place. They're starting to contact their network and make those connections. And we're giving them the tools and the strategy to set that up well. And then once orientation is over, we actually pair them with a coach.
Yeah.
And the coach, like we've referenced Chesney, who's working with Amanda, the coach is actually meeting with them on a weekly basis to walk through some challenges they may be having as it relates to fundraising, to strategize about future meetings that they're walking into, to tailor their communication plan to specific people in their networks, to pray with them regularly, and to hold them accountable to the steps that they said they were going to take that
I
week.
feel like the accountability piece is
It's
like one of the
huge.
most helpful
Yeah.
things. Yeah.
And the coach is also somebody who's done fundraising before
Okay.
and been successful at it
Yeah.
and has a spirit to want to raise others up and empower others and help them through this season.
I do want to give a shout out here from someone who attended our orientation in January of this year. This is a person who has served with other organizations around the world, and at the end of the week of orientation of fundraising training, his comment, it sounds a little over the top, and I'm saying this because this isn't I don't lead the fundraising.
Yeah.
Carly does. But this guy said that our fundraising training is by far the best training he has ever received in fundraising.
Wow. That's awesome.
That's the quote.
Dang. That's the quote.
So Carly, great job. I'll just add that.
Thank you. It's a collaborative effort. So we have a lot of people who are invested in the success of our fundraisers, of our workers who are what we call on deputation when they're in their fundraising season before they go to the field. And we've really just decided that we want to give them as many tools and resources and training as possible so that they can be successful in this.
Carly, can you comment just briefly on the advantage of having all of this in-house? Like, it's our training, it's our people who are doing the coaching, and can you comment a little bit on that?
Sure. Yeah, we did used to outsource some of this, and I think the advantage to bringing it in-house means that it's all one collective people who are involved in this person's journey. And so we have like a vested interest in seeing them reach their fundraising goals. We then can pair them with a coach sometimes who's even on their same team that they'll be serving with. We have coaches who are living and serving on the field with us, and then they can form and strengthen bonds ahead of that person coming to the field and just really welcome them and orient them to the team and the team culture early on as well. So it really just solidifies their connection to One Collective from the very beginning.
I love that. That's awesome. Well, this has been really fun, guys. I genuinely think my perspective towards money in fundraising, you guys have effectively changed my perspective.
Wow. That's
very significantly. And so, thanks for doing that, guys. And if you guys are listening, you made it to the end. Thanks. This has definitely been a long one, but it's been a really fun one. So if you're on the fence about serving somewhere around the world and wanting to do cross-cultural work, but fundraising is a barrier, I would encourage you just to apply and talk with Carly or Mark or one of our other mobilizers, because they will walk you through every single step about how to get it to the field in a sustainable and impactful and realistic way. That hopefully helps you grow in your relationship with Jesus and your network. So thank you, guys. We got 3 more episodes planned in the Torn Between podcast, our official name. And so come join us for those in the future.
Perfect. Thanks, Michael.
Thanks, Michael.
Bye, guys.
See you later.